So, today we're gonna talk about Metahuman by Deepak Chopra, if I remember it correctly. And I think it is a book about, the potential of the human being and maximizing one's potential, which is always something quite amazing. And yeah, with that being said, I'm gonna see you after the intro as always. Or as nowadays, whatever you wanna put it, because I do once again kind of wanna quote unquote transform the podcast a bit and make it a bit better. Because I think back in the days I've done it a bit better, and I've also been a bit happier while recording. Yes, I'm using a face mask as a pop filter. I do hope that it is not too much of a filter going on. It might be the case. I should actually check that before, but yeah. We are gonna see. Let's go ahead. This is, by the way, an article or a summary by the bestbookbits.com site. The link to this article is going to be down in the description. I don't know what the quality is going to be like. I don't know if it is a good summary, if it is worth going through, but we are going to see. As far as I have seen, it's, they say it is about spirituality. I don't really know what this has to do with spirituality. I like the cover. Yeah, a bit, but anyway. Yeah, let's see. And it is also very, very, very long. So I'm actually pretty excited to go through this one because I don't know the book. And I'm actually very excited in general to go through more book summaries because, I went through so many summaries and I still think that they're so beneficial. Even though I might be just putting them into a format that not everybody deeply likes. And as you can see there is also a podcast by the Best Book Bits site. So if you don't want to listen to this or watch this, check out their stuff because it's essentially going to be the audio version of this article. And it's going to be way faster than my episode. It's going to be maybe even way more efficient. But yeah, it is your decision. So let's see. Metahuman: Unleashing Your Infinite Potential by Deepak Chopra, the apparently New York Times bestselling author, or New York Times bestselling author. And he or she, I actually don't know, and the advertisements, they bother me a bit. Yeah, I don't know what I want to say, but anyway. So is it possible to venture beyond daily living and experience heightened states of awareness? In his latest book, Deepak Chopra says that higher consciousness is available here and now. New York Times bestselling author Deepak Chopra unlocks the secret to moving beyond our present limitations to access a field of infinite possibilities. So how does one do this? By becoming metahuman. To be metahuman, however, isn't science fiction and is certainly not about being a superhero. To be metahuman means to move past the limitations constructed by the mind and enter a new state of awareness where we have deliberate and concrete access to peak experiences that can transform people's lives from the inside out. So yeah, I do think that it is actually about some spiritual, quote-unquote, things. And maybe it's going to be about meditation, but we're going to see. We are going to see. Humans do this naturally to a point. For centuries, the great artists, scientists, writers, and many so-called ordinary people have gone beyond the everyday physical world. But if we could channel these often bewildered experiences, what would happen? Chopra argues we would wake up to experiences that would blow open our body, mind, and also soul. Metahuman invites the reader to walk the path here and now. Waking up, we learn, isn't just about mindfulness or meditation. Waking up to become metahuman is to expand your consciousness in all that we think, say, and also do. Which sounds pretty promising. I gotta have to say that and admit that. But yeah. By going beyond, we liberate ourselves from old conditioning and all the mental constructs that underlie anxiety, tension, and ego-driven demands. Waking up allows life to make sense as never before. To make this as practical as possible, Chopra ends the book with a 31-day guide to becoming metahuman. Once you wake up, he writes, life becomes transformed because pure consciousness, which is the field of all possibilities, dawns in your life. Only then does your infinite potential become your personal reality. But I do hope just as a side note, that it is not too woo-woo. That is not like, you just gotta have to sit here for 17 hours and then you're gonna be whatever. I hope that there's actually actual information. In chapter 1, the reality of human is a simulation. But I do wonder, why am I having so many ads there? Isn't block ads? Oh. Well, this might do something. Yeah, it does. So chapter 1, the reality of human is a simulation. Virtual reality is at the advancement of modern technology. Still, there is one simulated reality that's been in existence for 200,000 years. Since the start of human beings, though you don't require a headset to feel this simulation, you're living it in you're living in it presently. Our apparent reality is a simulation. It is not a metaphor, but a biological fact. So let's explain more. At a basic level, we apprehend reality through our senses, filtering the world through our capabilities to see, hear, smell, feel, and taste. What we feel through our senses isn't precisely a real reality, however, a sophisticated simulation. Consider sight, for instance. Let's say you glance out your window and see a tree. That tree is a group of particles, the building blocks of matter. These particles release electromagnetic waves called photons. Your retina, which is a layer of tissue behind your eyes, records the presence of these photons. Also, it apprehends impressions of them, which it conveys to your physical cortex, the aspect of your brain in charge of visual information processes. This is when your visual cortex deciphers the signals noticed by your retina. Do you see, quote unquote, the tree? How do you understand that the group of electromagnetic waves your retina sees is a tree? It is because your sensory insight connects with the mental framework you have been accumulating since you were born. This framework makes you categorize your sensory experiences into groups, separating the natural world up into plants, trees, and flowers, for example. It's this framework that categorizes billions of shades into groups such as red, blue, and also yellow. This relates similarly to our other senses. Everything our senses capture is alchemized by our minds into information and experience we can comprehend. We sense odorous molecules floating in a garden, and the mind reads them as the smell of flowers. In a concert hall, when we sense the vibrations of airwaves, the mind reads them as the sounds of an orchestra playing Beethoven's ninth. In this manner, everything we feel is mind-made, meditated and formed by our mental processes. Maybe you're smelling a newly baked pie or admire a rainbow. The reality you feel is truly a sophisticated mental simulation. And as the following chapter will clarify, the simulation doesn't stop there. Very, very interesting, but I have to say, yeah, it's quite a case. Everything that we're perceiving and seeing, quote unquote, or all the information, let's talk about communication. Everything that we receive, whether it is something of a smell, something that we see, something that we hear, is filtered by our brain, at least filtered. And also put into its pieces and whatnot. And what I had to think about is people, for example, that are having some type of color blindness. Of course, they're going to see the reality differently, and it is going to be their reality. I mean, the question then is there a real reality? Is there like how things really are? But the fact is that it couldn't be communicated or couldn't be described by a human being because we are also influenced by our mind. So is there a real reality? Actually a pretty interesting question. There might be some very intelligent people that thought about that and maybe potentially also figured it out. So chapter 2, we exist in a matrix of mental models that are produced by humans. What if a person said to you they believed that the world is a flat disk in the ocean, enclosed by a huge sea serpent biting its own tail? You would most likely have an issue with maintaining a straight face. As far as the belief systems are concerned, this one's not really realistic, right? Still, medieval Norse people recognized it as fact. That doesn't entail that you have a better understanding of reality than a medieval Norseman. I don't know what a Norseman is, but anyway, it basically shows the fact that no belief system is realistic. Our mind-made reality doesn't only constitute all the data that goes filtered by our senses, also it is made from all the thoughts and ideas that we filter through a difficult matrix of beliefs. This matrix assists us to organize and comprehend the world we live in. Also, it shapes our knowledge of the past, our experience of the present, and our outlooks for the future. Various groups of people have different matrices, I think it is, of beliefs and ideas, and therefore make totally different realities. The part of the group you are might exist in reality where the Earth was made in the past billions of years as the outcome of the Big Bang, whereas your neighbor might exist in a reality where God made the Earth during the period of 6 days. We are rooted in our individual matrices, right? From the birth, when we are given certain traits such as boy or girl, French or Sri Lanka, poor or rich. We hold on to these given traits, even vigorously shaping our identities around them. Also, as we become old, we accumulate even more of them, coming to see ourselves as clever or senseless, extroverted or introverted, Republican or Democrat. These features are lenses that filter the manner we view the world, lenses that concentrate on some things, blur other things, and completely obscure the remaining things. This distinct condition overlaps with wider, collectively made mental models that are superimposed on reality. Since the time humans evolved storytelling skills sometime in our older days, we have been producing and partaking in these models. These models contain mythology, religion, and more lately science and also technology. From these models, societies have formed ideas such as money, nationhood, and units of measurement such as time. Which, I mean, by the way, if you think about it, everything is made up. Society is made up, money is made up, also our perception of time apparently is made up. I mean, yeah, okay, the sun is going around. No, the sun is not going around anything, but we are going around the sun. We, as the population of the earth, we are going around the sun, and therefore there is sometimes in our day where there is no sun, and sometimes where we have sun. And apparently we like to sleep when there is no sun, probably because we can't see anything. Or back in the days, if you really think about our ancient ancestors, they weren't able to see anything. So the only practical thing that we as human beings can do then is sleeping. Quite, But I do still wonder what people did when there was fire. Did they not sleep? Was there such a thing as sleep deprivation, which is definitely something that we have to struggle with at this point in time, and or we are struggling with at this point in time. Well, I kind of think that they also did that, but yeah, anyway. So everything is made up, schools are made up. Of course, there's facts like certain types of knowledge, like, I don't know, physics, it is what it is, it's just the case. But the whole thing around it, everything is made up. Like, really, everything is. And so there's also quite, on one hand, no reason to quite do anything, and on the other hand, there's no reason why you wouldn't be able to do anything. I mean, of course, we all have certain talents, and if you think about yourself as an animal, this is some traits that you've gotten from your parents, and yeah, I mean, yeah, period. That's all I wanted to say. These mental frameworks might assist us to comprehend and organize our world. However, the reality is that they are also very limiting. Still, they're intertwined really securely into the fabric of our lives that they feel as if it's not possible to avoid. Still, to attain our maximum potential, we have to begin undertying the threats of our mind-made reality and uncover the real reality that lies ahead. The question is, and I'm still having, is there like a real reality, and are we actually able to see the real reality? Because I kind of have a feeling that we will never be able to do so. Because there's always going to be some assumptions. There's always going to be also some biological limitations, obviously. I mean, yeah, some people that are colorblind, well, they're never going to see what I'm seeing. So, yeah. Chapter 3. Pure meta-reality occurs beyond our perceived reality. Yeah, I can go through that one as well. Check outside the window. Let's say you see a bright yellow car outside. You understand that yellow is an artificial group you use to build and comprehend your reality. Due to that, so are car and bright. The car is the aspect of our mind-made reality. Also, your mind-made reality is a sophisticated simulacrum. Does this mean that there is nothing like that car, nothing as fixed reality? No. However, in order to access this reality, you have to move past your mind-made reality to something really deeper. Imagine yourself at the banks of a river, several miles from the spring where it starts. During the course of its journey, this one time pure water has been stumbled over pebbles and rocks and filled with weeds. It's become obstructed with dirt and silt. Garbage was dumped in it, and it has become polluted. The dirty water in front of you, polluted with weeds and dirt and rocks and garbage, is your mind-made reality. The pollutants are the wrong ideas and man-made stories that filter your experience of reality. Now, think of watching that river back to its origin. The spring where the water flows clean. The water at the spring is pure reality, unpolluted by artificial ideas or limiting mental models. It's meta-reality, Meta is the Greek word for beyond. Meta-reality occurs beyond the mind-made reality that the majority of us live in. It is a reality that doesn't have restrictions or limitations, a source of infinite opportunities. However, how can you access meta-reality? Well, clear your consciousness of the whole mind-made models that hinder you. You're left with pure awareness. Awareness creates every reality, and when the reality is released from delusion and deception, just awareness stays. Meta-reality is pure awareness beyond the limits and restrictions of daily perception. Hence, the experience of meta-reality is an experience of infinite opportunities and also potential. The mental constructs of mind-made reality are restricting. They restrict our consciousness and narrow our existence. Think of what you could do and the manners where you could exist. If your reality was totally released from these restricting mental ideas and narratives, you would cease to be just human only, but becoming meta-human too. You would realize infinite potentials, and by doing that, you would free yourself to each of them, releasing your limitless potential. It seems really good to be real, doesn't it? However, there is no cause why you shouldn't become a metahuman. As a matter of fact, metahumans are already in existence. Abandoned, every one of us possesses the potential to become metahuman. Well, I always want to go through that one. It's actually very interesting. Every one of us possesses the potential to become metahuman, which is chapter number 4. Wolfgang Amadeus Mozart, since it's German, produced an amazing 50 masterpieces that transformed the face of music. Richard Feynman transformed physics with the theory of quantum electrodynamics. At the young age of 13, chess grandmaster Bobby Fischer won a match called the Game of the Century. What does each of these unique humans have in common? Mozart intuitively made harmony from infinite variations of musical notes. With physics, Feynman saw the infinite massiveness of the universe and refined it into tangible scientific laws. Fischer produced a willing approach from a nearly infinite number of likely chess moves. All these people, Mozart, Feynman, and Fischer, channeled infinity, meaning all of them accessed the infinite potentials of meta-reality to be a meta-human. Due to that, the achievement that feeds outside the boundaries of mind-made reality. Mozart, Fischer, and Feynman might look like outliers. However, they don't have to be. Anybody can tune into the universe's infinite potentials. The sudden genius principle verifies it. First, recognized by physician Darrell Trafford, unexpected genius can happen when the patterns and complexities of the universe suddenly open up to someone. Trafford mentions the example of an Israeli man called K.A. who had simple skills as a pianist. One day, while K.A. sat down to play and all of a sudden understood the entire musical theory. From that point onward, he became an extremely accomplished musician. K.A.'s example isn't confined. Some of us are born seventh with unique mental skills like photographic memory. Other people obtain 7 skills after events that affect the nervous system, such as a head injury or stroke. A lot of savants discover that they are competent of doing unbelievable things, such as speaking in your language very well. Still more, such as K.A., acquired these skills unexpectedly and for no obvious reason. K.A. had never had or heard or seen music theory. How did he all of a sudden understand it? Simple, with a touch of meta-reality. Sudden genius principle teaches us that people such as Mozart, Feynman aren't geniuses with skills that go beyond those of the normal human. Infinity isn't a thing, just a talent few can understand. It's a thing all of us possess the potential to access if we can just discover the skill to tap into it. Fortunately, the way to infinity is within us, particularly within our consciousness, since consciousness, just like meta-reality, is infinite. How many... It's actually not that much. Fuck, man. There's like 3 chapters left. So 5, 6, and 7, I guess. But yeah, anyway, I'm gonna end the episode there. So I wish you the best health, happiness, and all success, and also hope that you're gonna mind yourself. You're gonna be remembered. It basically means your legacy, basically means just being a nice person, being a nice person. And yeah, I'm gonna see you next time. Please take care of yourself and your family members and all of your loved ones and friends and yourself. Bye bye.